Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a survival story that is it's absolutely brutal, intense, and honestly, incredibly fascinating. Imagine a world completely swallowed by this mysterious black fog, right? Where literally one single breath turns normal everyday people into bloodthirsty monsters. But for our main guy, Neptune, a bite that absolutely should have killed him actually unlocks this insane duality. It transforms him from just a vulnerable student into an absolute apocalyptic powerhouse. The stakes here are sky high, so let's just dive right in.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this scenario for a second. You're starving. You've just braved a high school hallway totally teeming with the undead, all just to find food for your friends hiding out in a fourth-floor classroom. You're the only one who actually makes it back alive. Your arms are totally full of life-saving supplies. But when you finally get to the door, it's locked. Your own girlfriend and classmates are inside, literally just staring at you through the glass as 3 zombies close in right behind you. It is the ultimate, heartbreaking betrayal. And it ends with the absolute unimaginable happening. A zombie just tears a massive chunk of flesh right out of Neptune's throat. A completely fatal, life-altering bite.
And those were the last words Neptune heard from his girlfriend. "I am sorry. For everyone's safety, we cannot take you inside and risk the danger." Seriously, the sheer visceral horror of this betrayal is just stunning. Instead of, opening the door, she plays the martyr, basically condemning him to be ripped apart by the horde just so she can stay safe. Now, Neptune actually manages to jam a door shut in an adjacent classroom, but the damage is done. This horrific flesh-tearing wound has just destroyed his throat. And as he's bleeding out on the floor, kind of fading away, his last thoughts shift to his parents and his little brother. He's dying. But then, something ancient wakes up.
Right as he's slipping away, this ancient voice suddenly echoes in his mind, and it feels like it's crossed centuries. It says, "Yin-Yang, heaven grants you the power to change forms." Neptune snaps awake. He realizes that the Yin-Yang fist pendant his dad gave him, which by the way was an actual relic found in a meteorite crater, has completely vanished from his neck and essentially merged right into his skin as a tattoo. So this isn't just a cool symbol anymore, it's an ancient, mysterious force that has literally just saved his life by giving him a miraculous ability. He can now freely shapeshift between a human and a zombie. No way, right?
And this brilliantly illustrates the incredible duality of his totally new existence. On one side, we have his human form. He keeps his consciousness, he can think clearly, taste food, and he can feel pain. But he's incredibly vulnerable. On the flip side, we have his zombie form. In this state, he feels absolutely zero pain, possesses monstrous physical strength, and, this is the real game changer, he is completely invisible to the undead hordes. They literally just ignore him. But, there's a massive, terrifying catch to this whole shape-shifting dynamic.
See, when Neptune first figures out he can turn back into a human, he is thrilled. But the exact second he shifts back to human form in that bathroom, the massive, fatal wound on his neck just instantly returns. The severed windpipe, the catastrophic bleeding, it all just comes rushing back. He immediately starts choking on his own blood, literally about to die all over again. In a panic, he realizes he has less than 5 rapid seconds to execute this visceral, desperate transformation back into his zombie form just to stop the bleeding and save his own life. The sheer adrenaline of that 5-second window, it's a brilliant mechanic that keeps the stakes incredibly, incredibly high.
So it looks like he's stuck as a zombie if he doesn't want to bleed to death, right? Well, how does he fix his fragile human body? He actually discovers this amazing progression system. It goes like this. Step 1, he has to kill a zombie, like completely dead. Step 2, he touches the corpse with his index finger. And step 3, he absorbs its glowing blood and source energy directly into his own body. Just imagine the epic, high-contrast visual here. These glowing red particles are flowing from the fallen undead directly through Neptune's finger, basically acting as this instant power-up and healing factor.
And the actual application of this energy, it is pure cinematic horror, but honestly in the best way possible. As he absorbs this glowing red energy, the catastrophic wound on his throat literally begins to stitch itself back together in real time. We're talking granulation tissue visibly growing, intertwining and healing the torn flesh, and a shattered windpipe right before our eyes. In a matter of seconds, his fatal injury is completely cured, and even his intense, gnawing hunger just vanishes. He doesn't need to eat human flesh like a regular zombie, and he doesn't even need regular food. He can sustain himself purely through this absorbed energy.
Now, what do you do when you realize you have a completely game-breaking superpower right in the middle of an apocalypse? You grind for experience, of course. Neptune grabs a fire axe and just systematically clears out the entire 4th floor of his school. He executes his infected classmates, including his traitorous ex-girlfriend, finally getting some absolute closure there, and he absorbs the energy of exactly 200 zombies. And by hitting this 200 mark, his physical strength and speed literally double. He goes from being a scared, betrayed student to this formidable, superhuman survivor in just a matter of hours.
But while he's leveling up, the world outside is just descending into absolute chaos. A heavily armed city rescue team arrives at the school courtyard, desperately trying to save the remaining students. The gunfire, though, it draws the horde. And here we get one of the most chaotic, visually striking scenes in the entire story: zombie rain. Undead bodies, totally desperate to reach the fresh meat below, literally start throwing themselves through the upper floor glass windows. They crash down onto the rescue team like this horrific shattered hail, breaking their own bones upon impact but just continuing to crawl and bite. It is an absolute massacre out there.
Right in the middle of this total chaos, we meet Lin Shanshan. She's the school's top student and, frankly, the ultimate sniper queen. But in a really tragic turn, her father's ankle gets bitten, and right before he's torn apart, he tosses her his automatic rifle. Neptune, who happens to be in human form at the moment, is trying to help, but Shanshan is fiercely pragmatic. In a split second of panic, she fires the rifle, and the bullet passes mere centimeters from Neptune's crotch, instantly killing a zombie that was sneaking up right behind him. With this icy precision, she looks at a terrified Neptune and just yells, "Idiot! Come here quickly and carry me out of here!" And what follows is honestly one of the most powerful images of this entire apocalypse. Neptune throws on a mask, shifts into his super strong zombie form, and hoists Lin Shanshan right onto his shoulders. They instantly become this ultimate apocalyptic duo. Because Neptune is in his zombie form, the surrounding undead horde completely ignores him. So he acts as this undetectable, super strong transport tank, while Shanshan sits up on his shoulders, basically acting as a human turret, sniping any threats that get in their way. It's this epic, boss fight level application of his unique powers as they navigate straight through a literal sea of undead.
So the crucial point here is that this camouflage doesn't just help in combat, it actually allows Neptune to completely master his environment. He sets Shanshan up safely in a supermarket, then uses his zombie form to effortlessly just walk through the infested streets. He raids a ravaged grocery store, casually pushing zombies out of the way like they're mannequins, and packs this massive bag of food. Then he walks right through his infested apartment building, slaughtering the undead on the stairs, and finally reaches his front door. When he knocks and shifts back to human form, we get a really deeply emotional reunion with his starving parents and his athletic younger brother, Lin Fei.
As the family finally sits down to their first real meal in days, they manage to tune in to an old radio broadcast that delivers a pretty grim reality check. A staggering 90% of the global population has been infected. The broadcast explains that this black fog was the result of a perfect storm, melting glaciers releasing ancient viruses mixed with severe ocean pollution and global warming. Society has totally collapsed, to the point where the government officially lifts the gun ban, actively encouraging everyday citizens to arm themselves just for basic survival.
Let's move to and see how this builds the rest of the story, because the broadcast reveals one more vital piece of information that changes absolutely everything. The International Biological Research Center announces the discovery of the mutant crystal core. Now, this is a mysterious crystal found deep inside a zombie's brain. When a human consumes it, their physical strength increases significantly. But it's the milestone attached to these cores that truly catches Neptune's attention and basically sets the stage for the rest of his journey.
The broadcast reveals a truly monumental quest. To evolve a human body to an entirely new dimension of power, a survivor must consume exactly 1,000 mutant crystal cores. Now, for a normal human, this is an impossible suicide mission, right? Slaying 1,000 zombies without getting scratched even once? It's a total pipe dream. But for Neptune, with his ability to walk completely undetected among the dead and harvest their energy, 1,000 isn't a pipe dream at all. It's basically just a to-do list.
And the reward for completing this impossible task? Unlocking a staggering 10 tons, or 10,000 kilograms, of pure, unadulterated physical strength. The moment Neptune hears this, his eyes just light up. With his family fed and safe for the afternoon, he doesn't rest. He adjusts his clothes, puts his mask back on, grabs his fire axe, and immediately steps right back out into his apartment building. He shifts into his zombie form, kicks open the door to apartment 502, and immediately starts his hunt.
Which brings us to a really fascinating conclusion for this explainer. If the ultimate apocalyptic power requires wading into the darkness and slaughtering 1,000 undead just to consume their brains, does Neptune actually remain a human survivor? Or, by completely embracing his zombie form and hunting for endless power, is he evolving into something far more dangerous than the monsters outside his door?
It is a dark, high-stakes progression path that leaves us absolutely hungry to see what he becomes next. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the limits of survival.